According to psychologists, glossophobia, or the fear of public speaking, is one of the most common anxieties experienced today. And if you're anything like me, then the thought of delivering an online presentation at the end of the semester has been bothering you since you first laid eyes on the syllabus. But if you can relate with the 77% of us who struggle with glossophobia, then this video is for you. Today we'll cover several strategies you can use to feel more confident in your online presentations, so you can stop worrying and get the grade you want. Hey everyone, I'm Edward. I'm an academic coach who shares all the strategies you need to reach your academic goals, so you can graduate ready to change your world. If you haven't already, consider subscribing to this channel for weekly strategies you can use to get the most out of your college experience. In my work with online students, the most common response I hear when I ask someone why they're worried about an online presentation is because they want to look like they know what they're talking about. They're afraid to make a mistake. They're afraid to lose face with their peers and with their professor. So the first strategy I have for you is to know what you're talking about. The absolute best way to do this is to be confident in the material that you're presenting. When you selected a topic for your presentation, you committed to becoming a mini expert in that area. Now I want you to notice that you're the one who's become the mini expert. So if you're doing your best to read and to learn as much as you can about your topic, then know that you're miles ahead of other people. Since you've committed so much time to researching for your presentation, then feel confident knowing that you're probably the second most knowledgeable person in class on your topic, apart from your professor. If you don't feel confident that you know what you're talking about, then your challenge is going to be to start taking in more content and really thinking deeply about your topic. Spend more time reading books and articles, have conversations with relevant people in the field, and even watch videos on YouTube. Do your best to immerse yourself in the content and start thinking about it at deeper levels. Start asking questions that you think the audience might ask you and come up with relevant answers so that you feel prepared on presentation day. If the most common fear I hear around presentations is looking unknowledgeable, then definitely the second is that we're worried to not look our best, especially on camera. So our second strategy is to do everything you can to present yourself well on presentation day. First, let's talk about your camera. So why is it that some people just seem so much more polished and crisp on their camera than others? Well, actually, it's a lot simpler than you might think. The first thing you want to do is to be sure that your camera is at eye level. I think we've all kind of seen this before, and even worse, we've all seen this before. Don't be those people. You may need to prop up your laptop or computer on a couple of books, but trust me, it is well worth the time invested. In addition to having your camera at eye level, you want to be sure that your lights are coming at your face from the front. If you've ever seen this situation going on, where the background is nicely lit, but your face seems to be in a shadow, it's because the light's hitting you from behind. So you'll want to do your best to get the light hitting you directly. Try sitting in front of a window or bringing in some lamps so that your face is nice and brightly lit. Our last visual component is to consider your background. When in doubt, go for an empty wall. Do your best to avoid cluttered backgrounds that can cause distractions and make people disengage. If you don't have a blank wall handy, then it's a great time to consider using a virtual background, but keep it simple. Next, you'll want to consider your audio. Typically speaking, the microphones on our computers and laptops aren't very good, so do your best to use an external microphone. If you don't happen to have a microphone that you can plug into your computer, then consider using headphones that have an attached microphone. A general rule is that the closer a microphone can be to your mouth when speaking, the better. Which brings us to our next point on audio. Ask people for peace and quiet during your presentation. There's absolutely nothing worse than to have someone yell at you while you're in a presentation, or to hear things like your dog barking. Do the best you can to isolate yourself in the quietest room possible, and let others know to leave you alone for 10 to 15 minutes while you present. And the last strategy I have for you to present yourself well on camera is to wear your favorite outfit during your presentation. We all have that shirt or blouse, jacket, what have you, that makes us feel most confident and most like the person that we want to share with the rest of the world. Use your presentation as an opportunity to wear that outfit. If you're not typically someone who likes attracting a lot of attention, then you'll want to stick with neutral colors like white, gray, and brown. And of course you can't go wrong with my favorite, timeless black. So what is it that separates an okay presentation from an amazing presentation? I believe it's engagement. Think back on your classes. Which professors stand out the most? The ones where you just sit, never say a word, and listen, or the ones who ask for your input and feedback? I think we can all agree that it's the professors who get us to do group work, engage with others, and to share our opinions that most stand out in the classes where we feel like we learn the most. So do your best to emulate them. This strategy is to engage the students who are watching your presentation. There are a few ways we can do this. First up, look at your camera. It's so painful to watch somebody present like this, where they're looking down. Call it narcissistic, but we have this tendency to stare at ourselves. And even worse, we may have wandering eyes that move us around the classroom like this as we're speaking. Don't do those things. I know it feels unnatural, but do your best to look up at the camera. It will convey that you're confident and knowledgeable and go a long way in building authentic connections. Just a pro tip, if you need some notes to help jog your memory, then use sticky notes and set them just above your webcam. In fact, I'm actually not looking directly at my camera right now. I'm staring just above at some notes, but you probably can't tell. That brings me to our next point. Stop reading your presentation. If your presentation is just a book, then you're better off making a book and emailing it to everybody. There's absolutely nothing more boring than putting up a presentation filled with text and then just reading it. It's the quickest way I know of to shut down engagement, because they're just going to read ahead of you and then stop paying attention. And our last strategy for engagement is to let the audience know that you expect them to engage. Invite them to turn on their cameras, ask them to use reaction buttons, to ask questions, to interrupt you, and consider learning how to use the polling feature in your conferencing software. Doing all of these things will take the emphasis off of them just staring at you mindlessly, and instead help them to become active participants and even learn something from your presentation. And the last strategy we'll discuss today is to practice, practice, practice. I know you've heard this a million times, but feeling prepared for an online presentation is especially important. Get comfortable with filming yourself. Even while walking around your house, just hold up your phone and record yourself and play it back to yourself. Notice if there's anything you'd like to improve, and practice staring at the camera. By doing this over and over, you'll get more comfortable with staring at a camera while you're speaking, and then you won't feel so nervous on presentation day. Also, you're going to want to be really comfortable with your conferencing software. Don't be the person. Know where all of the buttons and features are so that it's one less thing to worry about. And those are our strategies for instantly increasing your confidence during your online presentation. If you found this video helpful, please like it and consider subscribing to this channel for more tips you can use to get the most out of your college experience. Lastly, I'd like to leave you with a challenge. Starting today, become a better online audience member. Whenever someone else is presenting, whether it be a peer or your professor, do all the things that you hope someone does with you. Turn on your webcam, engage, use the reaction buttons, and you're going to find that little boost of confidence goes a really long way for the presenter. And hopefully you'll inspire someone to do the same back for you. Let me know down in the comments which strategy you plan to use to feel more confident in your presentations. Thanks for watching. See you next time.